this session because it's good morning, ladies and gentlemen, for attending new member orientation. Let me share my screen for this particular presentation as well. So before we get started on this thing, I'm going to send you a handout, the handout that you can use to, let me see, where did my screen go? Here we go. Okay, I'm going to put the handout in the chat for everyone so that you can follow along. This is a follow along kind of a presentation. So give me a second, I can put it in our chat. I have just placed the handout in the chat. This is a editable PDF document. So one of the things that I learned from good presenters is that if you give them blanks and people pay more attention to the screen, so you can actually type in what you see on the screen, and that helps you understand what's going on as well. So basically, this presentation is going to talk about how to conduct a new member orientation, what to do when a guest joins the club. So we will talk about a little bit as we go along, and please feel free to share your experiences. And since I'm not seeing your faces over here at this point, make sure to just, we are a small group here, make sure that you unmute yourself and share what your experiences that you want, or answer questions and so on. All right, this is something that I want you to think about and type in the chat. Rabia, I just posted the thing in the chat. I'm going to post it again so you can get the handout. New member orientation handout is in the chat. So think about this. However long ago you joined Toastmasters, whether it is just a year ago, or whether it was 30 years ago, or whether it was 40 years ago, whatever it is. What is it that you wish you had known then when you joined that you now know about Toastmasters and leadership? Type it in the chat. Let me know what is it that you wish you had known when you first joined Toastmasters that you were not aware of. I would have started earlier, okay? Anybody else? How much I would love being in Toastmasters, the amount of growth I would receive, that most of your recruits will leave within a few months. Isn't that the truth? Yeah. But when you became a Toastmaster for the first time, what is it that you wish you had known about being a member, about Toastmasters, about someone explain to me the path and how to use it? I would have asked veteran members how their experience shapes them. Okay. That I will learn to be a leader as well as a better speaker. Wow, excellent. The opportunities for leadership development. Yeah, we don't think about Toastmasters for leadership. We think about it, communication, learning how to speak, and so on. And then, of course, Maria, the friendships I would gain. Some of my best friends are Toastmasters, and I've made friends through Toastmasters as well. How I can benefit from holding officers' positions. Excellent. Great ideas. So there are so many things that we wish we could have known this. We wish somebody would have told us about Toastmasters, about what's available for us, about their own experiences, that you should dive in and give the icebreaker. There will be ability to develop skills that you do not have, to expand your writing. So there's so many different things that we don't know about it. Who tells us all that? The person who does the new member orientation. It's your, as the person orienter, it's your job to help this brand new member who has no idea what they're getting into. They probably just came in so they could string a couple of sentences together. They didn't really think beyond that. In fact, Helen Blanchard, one of the first women Toastmasters and the past international president, used to say, if you get out of Toastmasters what you came to get out of Toastmasters, you will never get out of Toastmasters. So essentially, a lot of times we don't know what we're coming to get out of Toastmasters. We come for one reason, but we stay for a whole bunch of different reasons as well. So your guest joined. Your guest has become a member. Now what? What are you supposed to do? Send the membership application and dues within 48 hours. This is a recommended time frame. It's not a required, but I would recommend that as soon as possible. In fact, in some of our clubs, we have online access right away, and we basically submit the paperwork. Well, we don't even need paperwork at this point anymore. You can type everything in online, and they can immediately become a member and get their welcome email before they leave the club. So make sure that you send that. Set up new member with access to the club website. So this is another thing that we should be doing, because the club website is where they can sign up for roles, where they can meet their fellow members, and so all of those things that are happening in Free Toast Host, which is a lot of the people use that website tool as well. In fact, today we'll be talking about it at 11:30. Somebody who's not muted is interfering. Would you please mute yourself? Thank you. If your club has a new member packet, some clubs have new member packets that introduces them to the club and so on. You can give it to them. Make sure that they get the new member packet. And schedule a new member orientation with new members before the next scheduled meeting. So let me ask you a question. Who does the new member orientation in your club? Or if not, how do new members fare in your club? I'm going to stop sharing at this point. So I'm looking for some responses. Who does the new member orientation in your club? Is it done at all? Let's have a discussion. VPE. Okay, you can talk as well. Diane, go ahead.
Well, in us, it's the VP of membership traditionally who has done the orientation, but also we're trying to get all of the officers trained to do orientation, so it doesn't all fall on one person.
That's great. That's a great way to think about it. All officers, we're all responsible to help the new member get off on the right foot and be a productive Toastmaster as well.
And anybody? We've just started. Let me just add one other thing. We've also just started assigning mentors to members. It's just really new for us. And so the mentor is also, if we don't get to it in the initial orientation session, we have a little script of all the stuff that should be covered. And that's then up to the mentor to go over those things with the person. So that way they can also use that to build a relationship with their mentee. Right. Thank you.
And I see somebody posted that they don't have it because they don't do it. I think many clubs spend so much time and effort recruiting the members that once they become members, they're left to their own devices to either figure out this whole myriad, Toastmasters.org, freetoasthost.org, this TMD29.org, all those different websites, and everything has different things. And you can't do one thing at one place and the other thing at the other place. And unfortunately, it's a big jumble, and they need a way shower to take them through these things as well. So having the new member orientation helps in that form as well. So after you do that, you are still expected to conduct what is called a new member induction ceremony. Technically, this new member induction has pretty much fallen by the wayside in many Toastmasters clubs. This is still in the rule books as being required as well. And then as the VPE, you need to assign them speaking roles like timer, counter, grammarian, etc. right away. Remember, these roles require no preparation at all and gives them an immediate chance to get their feet wet, be a timer or counter, so that they start becoming important in the club. Nothing helps member retention more than the feeling that the member matters. If the members feel they matter, they're important to the success of the club, and so on, they will stay. And have their mentor guide them through their first speeches right away. Why orient new members? So you can deliver the benefits of Toastmasters membership. Like a lot of you posted in the chat, There were things that you didn't know that were benefits of Toastmaster membership that if you had known, you would have stayed longer. Help them confront the two types of anxieties that any newcomer feels joining any organization. In our case, joining an unfamiliar group and gaining acceptance is a big fear for a lot of people, especially introverted people. It's a big fear that will I fit in? Will they accept me? Will I be, all those things. And also, in addition to that, for the new Toastmaster, standing in front of an audience and speaking. These are the anxieties that you want to help them confront. So when you start doing a new member orientation, you need to discuss their goals and aspirations before starting the program itself. So you want to say, what are you there for? What are you going to do? In your handout, there's a link to a document called the new member profile. This is something that a new member should immediately fill out. That gives us an idea why they're there, what are they hoping to gain, what's their experience, and so on. Then part of the new member orientation, we want to tell them specific information about the club. Well, in one of our clubs, after Toastmasters, we went to Starbucks, which was nearby. So you want to invite them, say, hey, we go to Starbucks to hang out. You don't have to come every time, but once in a while, it's a good time to let us know us socially and so on, how to do various things. In certain clubs, they do the general evaluator introduces all the helpers at the beginning of the meeting. In certain clubs, they don't do that. And in certain clubs, the table topics master will point to a person. In certain clubs, those table topics master will say, who would like to respond, and so on. So whatever your club norms are, you want to let the new member know how to do that. And crucially, you want to let them know how to access the club website, Toastmaster website, district website, and so on. And now with pathways, we want to make sure that the Toastmaster gets specific information about pathways, how to access, how to use Basecamp. Remember that welcome email has got so much information that it can very easily overwhelm a new member. So you want to give them specific information as well. And you also want to tell them about activities beyond the club. Like we have the area, the division, and the district, and so on. We have contests, we have meetings, we have educationals, we have TLIs that they should attend that will help them as well. So you want to make sure that all those things you have to use as well. And of course, ultimately, that new member needs to feel that the club really cares about them, really cares about the reasons they joined, wants to help them achieve that reason. So that's what we're really about as well. So that they can develop a sense of pride and belonging to the club. Ultimately, we all want to make sure, we all want to feel like we belong, we are part of that club, we matter to that club, to that membership, that we are friends, and so on. The act of joining a club is a social contract between the club and the new member. So you want to be making sure that you realize that's part of that contract. On both sides, the club and the new member should abide by the Toastmasters Promise. A good orientation can establish a very firm and beneficial social contract. This is where basically the new member feels like, okay, now they belong, they're empowered, they can do whatever they want in the club, and they can take charge of their own education and growth. So if you think about it, this is the Toastmasters Promise: to attend meetings regularly, prepare all my projects. And we have read about this the whole time. We read it out today at the plenary session as well. This is our Toastmasters Promise. And this is the club's promise to its members, the mission of a Toastmasters club. This is what we are about. So this is what we are trying to do: have well-prepared meetings, provide a mutually supportive and positive learning environment. Essentially, if you think about this, this is how the promise made by the Toastmaster and the promise made by the club has to match in. You have all these different parts that they are written in such a way that they do mesh. So the club and the Toastmaster makes a contract with each other. So how do you do the new member orientation? You determine the members' needs. What do they want? What do they want to do? And you establish that social contract that Toastmaster, here's what your expectations are. Here's what you're promising. And as a club, here's what we offer you. And here's what we promise. And you, as the person doing the new member orientation, are taking the time to do that. And you explain how Toastmaster to take action. Now, I'm going to put another document in the chat. This is from Toastmasters International. It talks about how to orient new members. This is a 4-page PDF document from Toastmasters. The link is also in your new member handout as well, that you can click on the link and take it directly, but I've sent it to you in the chat here. This gives you a lot of what we're talking about today as well. So the first thing you want to do is have them fill the new member profile sheet, where they fill out what are their communication and leadership goals, what are their communication and leadership skills, and so you can use that as well. Let me see if I can put the new member orientation, new member profile sheet on the chat as well. So you should have received 3 documents so far. A handout that goes with the presentation. Should have received one called Orienting New Members and one called New Member Profile Sheet. Has anybody had an experience of using these? New Member Profile Sheet, New Member Orientation Sheet.
No, haven't ever seen it. Happy to look at some of these resources you're providing.
Yeah, these are really good resources. The last 2 documents that I just posted is stuff that come from Toastmaster. Krish says, yeah, yes, I do. Krish, would you give us a little bit of your experience of using these documents?
Yeah, good morning all. I recently joined this club. So it was helpful actually where I am, and also it explains where I am standing and what is my personal goal, all those things it was asking it.
Right. And did that help you? Did that do these forms help you?
Yes.
Did somebody from the club actually conduct a new member orientation for you?
Correct.
Okay. So what all did they talk about in the new member orientation?
So on that, they were talking about it. What is the Toastmaster? As you explained in the previous screens, what is Toastmaster, or how that helps you in your life, or what we are doing it. Like I say, for example, we are conducting a monthly twice, first Thursday, third Thursday, all those things. And then what we do on that 1 hour meeting, all those things.
Oh, excellent. So that is essentially what we're trying to do in our Toastmasters new member orientation as well. So this form, new member profile sheet, should be done first, making sure. And part of the establishing a contract is to figure out, okay, what is their performance gaps? What are what are their particular situations? How often can they attend meetings? How often can they speak? What's going on? So you get to know the new member there as well. And then you match up how their needs of what they join Toastmasters for, their membership in the club will help them meet that. For example, if a member says they want to deliver a weekly report at work and they want to have some experience in doing that, how can we help them do that? Some member may come in and join and say that, hey, they want to win the world championship next year. For that particular new member, there's a different form of mentoring that's needed than somebody who basically wants to facilitate online meetings. So you want to find out why they joined Toastmasters. Why, that question I asked at the plenary, why are you in Toastmasters? That's a question that we should ask them, and we should get and let them talk as to what they're trying to do. Members want to get into the movies. Hey, they're looking for acting. They're in Toastmasters, but we got to see how we can help them. Maybe there's a club that specializes in improv. Like there's a humor mill Toastmasters, humor farm that helps them, flex their improv skills, and that might get into acting and so on. So you want to figure out what they want and see how Toastmasters can help match their needs. And then you have to explain how your Toastmasters club will help them achieve their results. So that they will get opportunities to lead, they will provide, the members will provide helpful, supportive evaluations, they will provide a positive atmosphere that will help the members' self-confidence, they'll provide, educational, stimulating programs, they will provide the member with a mentor. And here at this point, I cannot stress it enough. Even if you're a small club, every new member that comes, you should provide them with a mentor, whether the mentor is an official mentor or just a friend who's going to help them. We need to make sure that we do that. Pathways has a mentoring program as well. I would recommend everybody, if you completed level 1, to get on to the mentoring program so that you can all become Pathways mentors as well. Then the third part is where we tell the member what we expect from her, that they would attend meetings regularly, that they will work from Pathways and they will achieve education awards, that they will participate as an active Toastmaster and not just a casual one-time only, I'm just here, I paid my membership so I can get the Toastmaster magazine kind of member, that they will help evaluate others so they'll be a productive member of the Toastmaster Society, that they will help build friendships and so on. So this is a 3-part process. Introduce, find out what they want, tell them how the club will help them, and tell them what the club's expectations are from the member. So part of it, explaining how Toastmaster works is talk about the organization structure, all the websites. So each of one of your clubs may have a different kind of website. Some of us use Free Toast, some of us use Easy Speak, some of us use WordPress, some of them have an internal company website. Whatever that is whatever resources your club uses to make the member an active, productive member, you got to share them and maybe help teach them how to navigate that. Then talk about your club. How often do you meet? Where do you meet? What are the things? What's the administrative policy, especially for a corporate club? And if the corporate club, the company is paying part of the dues or all of the dues, you want to say, okay, what's the company's expectation from you? In fact, there's certain companies I know that pay the dues for their members. They expect that they will complete level 1 or level 2 within a year or something like that, so that they're not just paying money just for the sake of paying money, that they're actually getting a return on their investment. So that the member becomes accountable as well. So we want to talk about how do you pay dues. In fact, I belong to my company's Toastmaster Club, KPMG Tyson's, where a company pays 50% of the dues. And part of that, hold on, let me address this question. Rabia, it is not a link that's being shared, it's actually a document that's being shared. But if you're on an iPad or an iPhone, you're going to have problems getting this. So I will send it to you via email as well. So
yeah, I don't see any document in the chat, Narayan. I'm on Zoom on the web on my laptop, and I don't see anything.
Actually, I see it, so I know it's there.
So the documents, typically, I just hope I didn't send it to one person only. So I'm going to just send it to you again, to everyone, so that these are PDF documents that
Yep.
Yeah.
They're coming out, yes.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I guess it's because I'm on Zoom on the web then.
Yeah, that could be a problem as well.
Okay.
So after this meeting is over, what will happen is I am collecting the emails, so the people who attended, I can pull out a report from Zoom. I will make sure that hopefully by tonight, I will send every one of you a link to the document. If you received the first document, which was the handout for the presentation, these documents that I'm putting now are links within that PDF. If you did not receive,
thank you.
If you did not receive even the first document, then I will make sure I send it out to you at the end of the day today. So again, to continue on, you explain to how the Toastmasters work, how they are expected to sign up for roles, and what resources are available to help them do the different roles of Toastmasters. Then you want to also explain to them that club officers, how do we change, how do we do this? It's an annual replacement leadership model. That's the model of leadership in Toastmasters. Talk about the duties and what they are, and so that, let them know that once in a, after they've become a member for a while, that they would be expected to hold one of these offices as well. So you're replacing yourselves as leaders as well. Talk about evaluations. Talk about what is an effective evaluation, that you're not just giving them what we call a whitewash evaluation, that you are telling them specific things. So a new member usually feels unequipped to tell a more experienced Toastmaster how they could improve. But then you have to explain to them that it's not really how they could improve. An evaluation is your personal opinion. Whether you've been a speaker or not, you have an opinion about speeches that you hear. And as an evaluator, all you're providing is that personal opinion, what I thought about your speech, what I liked about your speech, and what I wish you had said, or what I wish you had said it in a different way, or I wish your gestures were not totally, completely in my face. So any human being is qualified to be a good evaluator, because it's personal opinions. You're not saying, here's the good, and you're not doing what's good. Evaluations are about, here's my opinion. So you want to explain that to them as well. Talk about further improvement opportunities that they're going to get. Then, of course, talk to them about pathways. How do they start on pathways? In fact, when I do new member orientations, I tell them, get on the computer. Let's see. Let me help you go through pathways. I will wait for them to do their assessment and say, okay, what path did it recommend to you? And then I would help them get signed up. And once that happens, I would say, okay, when's the next meeting you're planning to attend? And, sign up for a grammarian or timer or something like that, and sign up for your icebreaker right away. So you want to help them through that. And if you are the VPE or the VPM and it's your job to assign mentors, make sure that you assign them a mentor, or in one of our clubs, we help to have the member decide who they want to mentor them. And then we go, here are the names of the people available, get a chance to know who they are, and then they can mentor you as well. And here's, by the way, some clubs, the mentor does the new member orientation. The first thing they do when a guest becomes a member is assign them a mentor, and that mentor takes this person on. So that's possible as well. Schedule them for smaller roles, schedule the icebreaker, and then arrange a follow-on interview. Make sure that you are ensuring that they are good to go. Now, part of take action is the new member induction. As you can see, this is still a required activity that should happen. It's for the constitution, club constitution for Toastmasters. The applicant shall be declared elected to individual membership upon the favorable vote of at least the majority of the active individual members of this club present and voting at a business meeting. So this is what is supposed to happen. And in the club leadership handbook on page 28, you have the inducting officer script on the left-hand side as well. You can go and do that automatically. And as the vice president of membership, you should be conducting inductions of new Toastmasters. If your club meets twice a month, I would recommend that either the first meeting of the month or the second meeting of the month, regularly you induct whoever became a new member the past month. And here's the link to the new member induction ceremony. The induction ceremony basically, again, gives you the full detail, the full script of how do you conduct a new member induction. Many clubs after the induction ceremony and the member has been voted in, will actually give them a Toastmaster pin. As a formal way, they would pin the Toastmaster. When we were meeting physically, they would pin the Toastmaster and then go, welcome to all the rights and responsibilities of Toastmaster membership. Any recommendations on how to do that online? So I'm going to ask somebody who have done new member inductions online to tell us how they do it. Joe Jarzumbek, you might have a recommendation on that, I think.
What we've been doing now, our club is doing hybrid meetings.
Right.
And so we're able to actually still do it in person. So we've actually not had the orientations, we're still doing obviously online stuff, but the actual ceremony is done as part of the in-person part of the hybrid meetings.
Right. That's good. And to answer Ha's question, I think one of the ways you can do an online induction is still have an online meeting where the VP of membership reads through the script and everything. And when it comes time to a vote, you can have all members vote online with a thumbs up and so on. And then, yes, Joe.
Just we've had that come up on numerous occasions. Other clubs have asked about that. The way we actually do the voting is the vice president membership or the president submits an email to all club members and says the following individual has submitted his or her application with payment. Unless there's any objections, we will welcome that person in as a new member of our club at the next meeting. That gives every member of the club a chance to say something. Hearing nothing, it's basically by unanimous consent that we're voting that person in. So there's not really the stigma of voting in the true sense, but we are voting by consent by doing it that way. It's much easier. We've done that for a number of years, and our club has said that's a very comfortable way of doing it.
That's wonderful. That's a great idea, Joe. Thank you so much. And I think, yeah, that's a good way of doing it. Send out the email saying so-and-so person, barring any objections, will be inducted as a member of our club.
I don't want to interrupt this too much, but to say, well, why would we ever object to it? We've actually had in our history 2 objections. One was because the member who was joining was a stalker of one of the other members. And the person in private to the club president said, if this person joins, I have to drop out. And oh, by the way, if I drop out, that person has no reason to still continue being a member. So that was insight that we would not have known if we had just said, let's vote. So understand there are sometimes, very rare, a reason why you don't want a person to join.
Right. And I've had a similar experience. We had a member back when, club websites were a new thing. This member was taking pictures of female members of the club and posting them on the website without their permission. And when they asked that the pictures be taken down, he refused. And so that member had to be voted out. And basically what ended up happening that he would not share the password of the website, and they had to find other means to get that off the internet as well. So, well, I mean, like Joe says, it's not a frequent occurrence, thankfully, but it does occur. And so if you have voted them in, it's easier to vote them out as well. So
absolutely.
Technically, and that's why it's also a requirement. It's a membership that people are accepted into. Toastmasters membership is accepted. It's not just an automatic, you pay your $45 and you are a member sort of a thing. It's basically also that the existing members have to be okay with you being a member as well. So thanks for that as well. All right. Moving along. So what we want to do now is we want to do a quick breakout session where I would say send you into breakout rooms 2 at a time. And then we want to try this out. All the things that you have learned, try out being a club vice president or VPM, and you're conducting a new member orientation, and one of you role play being a new member, and then try it out. Let's see how that works, and we will share some of the experiences. And we have 30, so sign automatically. All right, so I think one room is going to have a extra member, but essentially I'm going to give you about 5 to 10 minutes roughly. I'll come and let you know. I want you to go into the room and just decide who's going to be person A being the new member, who's going to be person B being the new member orienter. And if there's a room with 3 people, the third person you're observing. And then if you have the time, you can switch around as well. So hope to see you all.
Excuse me, Narayan, this is Jim. I'm getting ready to go to the convention center. I might get disconnected, okay? I'm going to try.
Okay, don't worry if you're disconnected. I will put the third person in your room. So if you're disconnected, there'll still be 2 people in the room. Let me find out which room you're in at this point.
Okay, you want me to take that? Okay.
All right.
I need to check out if I can run to the car and drop the stuff off.
There you go.
All right.
Okay, go down.
See you all soon. Krish, were you not able to join a room? Or did I not assign you? Krish, are you there? Yeah, okay. All right, Kyle. Anything more you want to say? Then that was interesting.
Well, it's a lot harder to go down the list,
right,
and try and hit everything in 5 minutes. I think that was, from my perspective, is trying to hit everything and get our the new member what they wanted to do and what they felt.
Right.
Kind of teasing that information out is a little bit different than talking to them about new membership.
Typically, this meeting would take at least an hour. And previously in the past, when we were face-to-face, I would usually take them out to Starbucks or a coffee place or something and sit down and in an informal setting have the meeting. But now I just do it online as well. But typically it takes about an hour. Anybody else want to share? Go ahead, Diane.
Yeah, I agree that it takes a good hour just to get the bare bones of an orientation done. And that's why I think having the mentors assigned is helpful. But what Bonnie mentioned to me, and I think this is really good, especially as we try to up our orientation game at our club, because we haven't been doing this, and I didn't know these resources were available until today, is to really, either at the orientation session or in some of the first meetings between the mentor and the new member, is to have them fill out that questionnaire and what are your goals, and really have the mentor focus with them on
Curtis, do you
how
want to share?
Toastmasters can help them kind of craft their program to get to that end. So
right. Curtis, I think you have an interesting point of view to say. Curtis, would you like to share?
Yes, I want to preface this is that I know we have 5 minutes, but the first minute and a half, we was being quiet with each other.
Yeah, it's the newcomer wanting to fit in. I want to figure out who this other person is. Yeah, it happens. Yeah.
Yeah, but one thing, which is a good thing that I was grouped with, I think her name is K-A-I-N-I. K-A-N-I. I don't want to pronounce her name wrong.
Okay.
But in any case, she's been a member for about 6 months, and now she's a VPM. And when she said she contacted the club, the person who contacted her gave her a detailed overview of the club, And I explained to her that sometimes it's a hit and miss across the board, but it's a good idea. It's a good thing to give them a detailed overview of the club from your personal experience and not send them a bunch of links, because you can give links to TMI, the district website, and another website, but it's not telling you how your club runs, how to get comfortable and orient to your club, how to get. It's better doing it that way.
Right.
Than send them a bunch of links. And then one thing she said that, which more like you said before, a bunch of us are introverts when we first started. And
right.
To a lot of degree, all of us still are introverts. We're just more comfortable.
Yeah, it's in a spectrum anyway, Curtis. Yeah, thank you so much. That's a little known fact about Toastmasters. Majority of us are introverts. And one of the big reasons we come to Toastmasters is to get help with that introversion as well. I will hear from Jason Morgan and then Ellen Ulster, and then we will move on. Jason, go ahead.
Thank you. Yes, I was paired up with Mariama from Tyson's Regional Toastmasters. And one of the things that came out from her orientation was I never heard of this club, and I got a understanding very quickly of what that club culture is like. And I think that's really important. Each club has its own unique spin on its own unique take on Toastmasters. I mean, there are thousands of flavors of Toastmasters. You get a different experience depending on which club you join. So getting that sense of this is what this club is about, here's how we will meet your needs, I think is really important and helps set a nice base to build a relationship from. So
wonderful. Thank you, Jason. Ellen? You are muted, ma'am.
Yeah, I just unmuted. Okay, one thing that I learned when I first joined that I tried to share with, I was paired up with a new member, Lisa, is that to kind of let go of perfectionism. I think it's kind of intimidating as a new member, and you see the more experienced members give speeches and you go, oh, they're so polished, and it can be a little intimidating. And I think just people are hesitant to give speeches, is that it's okay to fail. It's Toastmasters is where you try out things for your job. So if you give a speech and it's something, or you do a role and it's not perfect, that's totally fine. Everybody, it's a safe space to try things out and try new roles, rather than thinking you have to follow all these. There's so much to learn of, do you do this first, or you do that first, or what's the agenda? And people commonly like, oops, they were supposed to do this part of the agenda and they forgot, to introduce this person or that person. That's quite all right. You don't have to be perfect. You can make mistakes.
Right.
So that's my message.
Yeah. Thank you, Ellen. I always tell people Toastmasters is the friendliest place to fail. Better you fail within Toastmasters, where we can help you up. So ultimately, I hope this presentation has helped plant a seed into what is possible for a new member. And what I would encourage you is whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it. Because boldness has genius power and magic in it. So I hope that if your club doesn't do this, that you take on the challenge to start doing new member orientations. If you're already doing it, I hope that the handouts that I have shared and the message that I've shared will help you orient your members much better in the future. And at 12:30, you'll get a survey. I surely do hope you provide me feedback as well, so I can learn and grow as well. Thank you all for attending this session, and I wish you well for the next session. The next session here will start at 10:30, and it is the VP of Membership session, where my lovely wife, Cheryl Baker, will be conducting as well. And if you want to learn more about Free Toast Host and how to do some of those things there, come back at 11:30, and we will talk about that at 11:30 as well. So thank you all for attending. Talk to you all soon. Hope you have a great rest of the day.
Hi, babe.
Bye.